All right, welcome to day 4. You may notice wearing the same thing as yesterday. Why? Because I'm shooting a bunch of these videos all at once. So for me, it's still the same day as it was for you yesterday. But that's because, I've got weekends. I want to knock these things out. So let's pretend like it's 24 hours in the future for me. And all I have to say is, I'm so much wiser now. Now I've got plenty of glassware over here. And I am really excited about today's whiskey. I'd never even heard of it until a couple weeks back. I was in New York with Tom Fisher from bourbonblog.com and one of our sommeliers, Vishal, from New York City. And we were in New York for the Whiskey Fest, which is really fun. You should go if it's anywhere near you, or even if you have to fly to get to it like I did. Worth attending. And I was roaming through the aisles of massive amounts of whiskey and, trying to make my choices on what to try and things like that. And, because when you've got 9 aisles of whiskey, both sides, right, you got to make your choices. It's a good way to end up in the hospital trying to get a liver replacement otherwise. But I had tried this whiskey for the first time in my life there. And, it was so good. And then I went to try to get it, and you can't get it anywhere near me in Austin. So I've been trying to figure out how to order it. And in the meantime, lo and behold, it shows up in day 4 of the Whiskey Advent calendar. Now, the whiskey is, hang on a second. I'm about to sneeze. Nope. Okay, I'm good. Whew, that was close. Wolfburn. Now, Wolfburn is a Scottish whiskey distillery. It's the northernmost distillery in Scotland that is on the mainland. That's a key differentiator, right? Because above that is the Orkney Islands, and that's where you've got Scapa and Island Park, for example. So they're farther north. But the northernmost town in Scotland that's on the mainland still is where Wolfburn Distillery is. And it's an ancient distillery, as in the first time it opened up, it was 1821. And it sort of functioned until sometime in the 50s. Maybe it's sort of gray. They say their website, it says the records were a little bit fuzzy on what happened and whether it was in disrepair, whether the people were trying to get it working again. But whatever it was effectively out by the 1900s. And then they brought it back in 2013. They released their first whiskey in 2016. So Wolfburn Single Malt. Now, I'm not sure if this is the same one that I tried when I was at Whiskey Fest, but my memory of the one at Whiskey Fest was that it was amazing. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This is a cool one in that it's a Highland whiskey. You can see from the color. Now I'm going to mention here, there will be a link below this video, our friends, the Whiskey Smiths, Zach and Leanne, who are level 2 sommeliers. They created a really kick-ass deductive tasting chart for whiskey, modeled after the wine deductive tasting charts. And I'll probably use it myself in one of these videos just to show you how cool it is. But you can go to their website. I'm going to put a link down below this video. You can start with that color, right? And that color, I don't know if you can notice. Let's see if I get too close. Does it get more blurry? Yeah, it does. Okay. Anyway, you can see that's a pretty light whiskey. Let's see if I can get something behind that. Oh, look, white paper. That is a light colored whiskey. That is young, right? But I did read on their website that they finish some of their whiskeys. They finish them in casks that used to hold Islay whiskey. And so you get this Highland whiskey, and in theory, it's going to have notes of Islay peat in it, left over from whatever it was aged in before. So, oh, it smells great. But then again, it's hard for me to find a Scotch whiskey that doesn't really smell wonderful to me. Now I'm getting notes like I get in Auchentoshan, where there's this sort of lightness, but it's a kind of a grassy, like a dry grass hay kind of notes. It's still sweet. I'm only really getting one note. I'm not getting a lot of variance. I'm kind of doing one thing really dramatically. Whoa. Whoa. Wow. Okay, so remember I said in one of the other videos that I like to take a first sip just to take a sip without doing any of the movement. This one just sort of went bam and exploded with these sharp, aggressive, young and spice notes and a little bit of smoke. And then as I was reacting to that, it just vanished completely. I have no aftertaste at all. It's just gone. So this was like a little firecracker. That was kind of fun. I wonder if adding a little water will lengthen that experience a little bit, bring some of the oils to the front. Yeah, that's a friendly whiskey, man. It's not overly sugary sweet like a lot of the Speysides I don't prefer, but it is, oh man, it's just good. It's that one's hard to explain. I'm sort of at a loss for words. It does have this sort of feeling of hey, like someone flipped on the lights in the room, in a dark room, while you weren't prepared for it to happen. Bing! And then you're like, hey, what the hell are you doing? And they turn it back off again. It's on and off that fast. It's not really sticking with me. I kind of missed that because what it started with at first was so good. I wish it sort of hung around a little bit longer. Could be there's a place for that when you just kind of want a nice little kick, but you don't want to have that. I mean, like Auchentoshan, for example, it just hangs around forever. It doesn't know when to quit. It leaves that lingering kind of aggression in your throat, but not this one. Oh, yeah. So let's add some water to this one. All right. Hasn't changed it at all. Not in the smell, anyway. Okay, so the same thing's happening right now that happened yesterday with that Kilchoman. It's that this young, sparkly, and vivacious kind of whiskey, when I add water, I expect it to get more aggressive, and instead, it sort of smoothed a little bit, and it widened. And maybe that's a better word for what I'm looking for. Instead of this pointy, aggressive, narrow zing of a flavor, it just kind of flattened out a little bit. And flat's the wrong word, because when you use the word flat as a descriptor, people think boring, unremarkable, bland, and that's not what I mean. What I mean is, instead of these giant peaks, think of it like a comparison between the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains, right? It just sort of time took the edges off. And that water just kind of spread it out. But what it also did was it added a little bit of earth aggression underneath that sweet and then the spiky smoke notes. It's richer now. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. It's more rich. It's more complex with a few of those drops of water. I'm going to see if I can take it a little further. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. That one brought it back a little bit. So I think this whiskey, if you really love the sweetness that you first kind of hint at when you take your first sip, you're going to want to be a good 5 or 6 drops in before you bring down the sharp edges and highlight that sweetness. To me, I preferred it first before I did anything because it was just really sparkly. But I also liked a little bit of water. It made it a little more complex. So well played, Wolfburn. And I really need to get your guys' whiskey into the vault. I don't have a bottle of this in the vault. I'm working on it. So cheers, and I will see you tomorrow.